Look at this tweet right here. A fan posted this, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since the moment it hit my timeline. Without stating the obvious, our attack is the exact same as the attack that finished 17th in consecutive seasons. It's startling and somewhat worrying that we haven't signed a single attacker despite all the talk that the Lewis family are serious. Needs to be sorted. Read that line again. Our attack is the exact same as the attack that finished 17th in consecutive seasons. Let that sink into your chest for a second. We are sitting here in late July, weeks away from kicking off the new Premier League campaign away at Brentford, and while everyone in the media is hyping up our marquee signings, we are ignoring the single biggest ticking time bomb inside Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Don't get me wrong, we've spent money. We went out and smashed our transfer record for Sandro Tonali at £100 million. We brought in Mateus Fernandes for £85 million. We signed Jan-Paul van Hecke for £52 million. We grabbed Andy Robertson, Marcos Senesi, and Martin Dubravka on free transfers. On paper, the midfield and the defense have been completely ripped up and rebuilt. We are about to walk into a brand new season with the exact same frontline that netted just 48 goals last year. The exact same frontline that won just 3 home games all season, the joint fewest in Premier League history for a team that managed to survive. If you think Roberto De Zerbi's tactical magic alone is going to turn a frontline that barely survived relegation 2 years in a row into a top 4 attack without raw, elite investment, you are living in a dreamland. Today, we are breaking down the brutal data, the tactical flaws in our current attack, the Lewis family's broken promises, and why Johan Lange and the board are playing a dangerous game of Russian roulette with our club. Before you drop into the comments and call me a doomer, or say, calm down mate, the window doesn't close until September 1st, let me make one thing crystal clear, I am buzzing with the business we've done in midfield and defense. Tonali is a monster. Fernandes brings energy and technical security. If you rate this transfer window purely on defensive metrics, it's an 8 out of 10. But football isn't played in a vacuum. You don't win games by just stopping goals, you win games by putting the ball in the back of the net. And this tweet hits the nail on the head because it exposes the massive contradiction at the heart of Tottenham Hotspur right now. The Lewis family took over full control and promised us a total overhaul to ensure Spurs never experience another season like the last 2. De Zerbi himself stood in front of the press and stated, unfiltered, that Spurs need to complete the attacking positions with first-level targets. Yet here we are. Pre-season is already underway. Patterns of play are being drilled on the pitch. And who is De Zerbi drilling? The exact same personnel that gave us 2 consecutive 17th place finishes. Let's look at the numbers, because stats don't lie. Let's talk numbers. Last season, Tottenham Hotspur scored **48 goals in 38 Premier League matches, 48 goals. That isn't just bad for a Big Six club, that is catastrophic for any top-flight team trying to build momentum. To put that into perspective, we averaged 1.26 goals per game. We were outscored by teams that didn't even have half our revenue. And home form, we won just 3 games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium all season. 3. We made our own ground a haven for away teams to park the bus, absorb weak pressure, and hit us on the counter. Now let's break down the individual components of this front line that we are apparently taking into the 2026-27 season. Unchanged. First, Dominic Solanke. Look, Dom is a workhorse. Nobody questions his work rate or his willingness to press from the front. But let's be entirely honest with ourselves. Solanke managed just *6 Premier League goals last season. 6. Our primary number 9, our focal point, scored 6 goals in an entire campaign. Yes, he had ankle injury troubles. Yes, the service behind him was inconsistent under the previous setup. But when you are playing as the lone striker in a Premier League side, 6 goals is nowhere near acceptable if your ambition is to climb out of the bottom half, let alone challenge for European spots. Next up, Richarlison. We all love Richie's passion. When he's fit and firing, he brings bite and fight that this team desperately needs. But, when he's fit, is the biggest caveat in modern football. Last season, just when he started finding form, he suffered yet another severe hamstring injury that sidelined him for almost 2 months. He is now entering the final 12 months of his contract. Are we seriously expecting to rely on a player who has missed over 40% of matches across the last 2 seasons due to recurring muscle injuries as our primary game changer? Dejan Kulusevski, brilliant on his day, but prefers operating centrally rather than holding width. Mateus Telephone, loaded with potential, but still a raw 21-year-old prodigy who isn't ready to produce 15+ goals a season in the Premier League. Add all of them together, and what do you get? You get the exact same attack that finished 17th in back-to-back seasons. Nothing has changed up front. We have the exact same personnel, the exact same profile limitations, and the exact same lack of elite, stone-cold finishes. Now, let's talk tactics, because this is where the real danger lies for Roberto De Zerbi. De Zerbi is a tactical genius. We know how De Zerbi works. His teams invite the opposition press, baiting them onto the ball using slow, deliberate passing around the back four and double pivot. Once the opponent bites and steps high, De Zerbi's teams play crisp, vertical line-breaking passes into the midfield, which is exactly why we spent £100 million on Tonali and £85 million on Mateus Fernandes. Tonali and Fernandes are designed to turn, break that first line of pressure, and release the ball into the final third. But what happens after that line is broken? In De Zerbi's system, the reward for pulling off that high-risk build-up is creating 1v1 situations for your wingers, or sending your striker through on goal with oceans of space behind the opposition line.
Data. When you think about West Ham, you think about they were relegated, you think about all them sorts of things, and people are often going, he's got 2 relegations on his CV, is he that good? I've got a chart on your screen right now, which is top 15 line breakers in the Premier League. And we can see Mateus Fernandes is right at the bottom of this with 217. But 120 of his midfield line breaking passes have come within that 217. He also has 28 in the defensive line and 69 in the attacking line. This is an extremely good passer of the football. And I want to show you again his defensive line breaking passes, the graphic on your screen right now. We said 28 before. This graphic on your screen. Look at the variety in these defensive line breaking passes. Look at the length played on the ball here. Look at how long the arrows are. Look how accurate the arrows are. And then again, 2 more examples on your screen. Progressive passes 95. Look at the variety. A lot of diagonal switches from the left. A lot of them coming over here with the ball and then actually playing it like that, which is what you need when you're playing against deep oppositions where you need to switch the play. So I just think he's such a good player.
If our forwards can't convert, all that risky build-up play in our own box just becomes unnecessary danger. You invite the press, you break it, you get the ball to the front line and then the front line loses possession or takes a weak shot. Then the opposition transitions quickly, and suddenly Senesi and Van Hecke are exposed in transition. De Zerbi knows this. That's why he went public a few days ago and explicitly told the media. The target now is to complete the attacking positions. We want the first target, the first level. To start the new project we need another couple of important players, for sure. Asterisk. He isn't asking for squad rotation players. He isn't asking for one for the future. He is begging Johan Lange and the Lewis family for ** first level starters. And the fact that we are nearing August without a single top level forward coming through the doors of Hotspur Way should have alarm bells ringing across North London. Let's look at what's actually happening behind the scenes on the transfer front, because the rumours are swirling, but the ink isn't drying fast enough. The biggest name linked to us all summer is Manchester City's Sandro. Reports confirm Spurs have been in active negotiations for a deal worth upwards of £60 million to £70 million to land the Brazilian winger. Sandro wants out of Man City, he wants guaranteed minutes, and De Zerbi views him as the ultimate 1v1 profile to lock down that left wing. Sandro is electric. He completed 16 assists during his stint with City and Girona, he can unbalance a low block, and at 22 years old, he has high upside. On top of that, reliable Spurs sources like Paul O'Keefe have confirmed that after Sandro, our top target is Bournemouth's young prodigy, Eli Junior Krupi. And there are even whispers about ambitious moves for Rafael Leao if we pull off major player sales. That all sounds brilliant in headlines, isn't it? But here is my argument, why are we dragging our feet? Why does Tottenham Hotspur always operate like a student writing an essay at 3:59 AM before a 4 AM deadline? We knew at the end of May, when we barely survived relegation against Everton on the final day, that our attack was broken. We knew Solanke needed elite competition. We knew we needed a marquee winger. We signed Tonali, Fernandes, and Van Hecke early. Why leave the most expensive, most crucial part of the squad overhaul until the final weeks of the window? Every single day Savinho or Krupi isn't training under De Zerbi at Hotspur way is another day lost in learning one of the most complex tactical systems in world football. When Brentford, Newcastle, and Arsenal come knocking in August, we're still negotiating fee structures, won't earn us 3 points on the pitch. Let me leave you with a historical reality check that should terrify every Tottenham fan who thinks we're too big to go down. Do you know how many teams in Premier League history have finished 17th in consecutive seasons and not made drastic, massive improvements to the goal-scoring capabilities? Historically, teams that flirt with 17th place back-to-back are riding on borrowed time. Look at historic examples like Luton Town in the early 90s or Sunderland and Wigan during their relegation dogfight years. You cannot rely on final day luck 3 seasons in a row. The Premier League is getting faster, richer, and more ruthless every single year. Everton, West Ham, Bournemouth, these clubs are spending money and upgrading their forward lines. If Tottenham walk into this season relying solely on defensive solidity, hoping for 1-0 ground-out wins with the exact same front three that stalled for 2 straight years, we are playing with absolute fire. The Lewis family made big statements when they stepped into full control. They talked about serious financial backing, a new era, and turning revenue into ambitious risk. Buying Tonali and Fernandes proves the money is there, but leaving the attack unaddressed makes all that spending look like putting a brand new V12 engine inside a car with 4 flat tires. The tweet hit such a nerve across the fanbase because it echoes what thousands of us are feeling deep down. We want to be excited for the De Zerbi era. We want to believe this club has finally turned a corner under new ownership. But as long as that front three remains unchanged, the ghost of those back-to-back 17th place finishes is going to hover over every single match at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Johan Lange, Daniel Levy, the Lewis family, if you are watching this, sort it out. Bring in Savinho, bring in Krupi, give De Zerbi the firepower he needs to actually compete. I want to hear from you guys in the comments section down below. Do you agree with LJ? Are you genuinely worried that our attack is identical to last season's 17th place finish? Or do you believe De Zerbi's tactical setup will transform players like Solanke, Johnson, and Telephone into 15 goal scorers? Smash that like button if you enjoyed this tactical breakdown, hit subscribe to join the community, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Up the Spurs, and let's hope we see some attacking announcements very, very soon. Peace.